Hey friend, Brad from simpleguitar.com here, and I've got a new video for you today. What we're going to be talking about today is the same thing that everybody starts out playing guitar, but we're going to do it a little bit different. Okay, because everybody learns open chords. They are one of the most important things for you to be able to play on the guitar. But usually the way that most people learn open chords can be a little bit difficult. And so most beginners will spend weeks trying to get their open chords down and sound good. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a way to play open chords that sounds cooler. It's easier to play, and it's way easier to change between the chords because it's only going to take 2 fingers to change between your chords. Sounds easy, right? So let's jump into it and let's go through this. All right, so first thing we're going to have to review what the regular open chords are that everybody learns, okay? So we got stuff like G, C, D, A, E, E minor, A minor, D minor, right? And then we could get into all the 7 chords like G7, A7, D7, D minor, you know, all that different stuff. There's a lot, but the thing that all of those chords have in common is the chord shape for each one of those chords is drastically different, okay? So, because going from a G to a C, you have to completely shift your hand, and from a G to D, you know, it's a totally different thing, okay? So it can actually be kind of awkward to play those chords, and then to change between those chords is where most people get hung up. So I'm going to try to give you a shortcut for that today. But when it comes down to it, you do need to learn those chords. You do need to learn your regular open chords. You're going to use them your whole life. You know, as long as you're playing guitar, you're going to play those chords. What we're doing today, though, is I'm just going to give you an alternative to these chords that I think is a lot easier for beginners to play and to change between and sound good really quick with, okay? So what we're going to do today is instead of doing your typical G and your typical C, I'm going to show you a hack that's going to make it, okay? Now, the trick is you're going to need all 4 fingers on your fretting hand, but you're only going to change 2 of those fingers between chords, okay? So first one is, let's start with G, okay? Now for all of these chords, we're going to do the same thing with your ring finger, your 3rd finger, and your 4th finger, your pinky, okay? Your 3rd finger, we're going to plant on your 2nd string on the 3rd fret, okay? It's going to stay on that D note, and you're not going to move it. And your pinky is going to sit right next to it on the 3rd fret on your 1st string, okay? So those 2, those are just going to sit there, and you're not going to move them, okay? Everything else for the rest of these chords is going to be with your 1st and 2nd finger, okay? Now, that's the cool thing is just playing 3 strings like that. Get used to those 3. Make sure your thumb's in the right position. Make sure that you're comfortable, right? If you play your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings with those 2 notes held down, that sounds pretty good, right? And you can do that. You can always just simplify the open chords by playing fewer strings. That's cool. But what we're doing today is we're going to, you know, give you something more full sounding, okay? So we've got your 3rd and 4th finger planted on the 3rd fret on your 1st and 2nd strings. Now, for a G chord, what I want you to do is I want you to take your 1st finger and you're going to put it on the 2nd fret on your 5th string, just like you normally would, and then your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of your 6th string, like you normally would. And then you hold those down. You've got all 4 fingers working now, okay? And you play all 6 strings. Now, this doesn't sound too different yet, right? This is technically called a G5 chord because we're adding in that D note, okay? But it sounds a little bit different. Here's what your typical G sounds like, your regular G major. And this is your G5. Little bit different. But here's the cool thing. For all the rest of this, it's all very similar. So from your G chord with your first and second fingers down here on your fifth and sixth strings, for a C chord, all you're going to do is you're going to take those two fingers, your third and fourth finger stay planted, you take your first and second finger, and you move them down a string. That's it. So now your second finger is on the fifth string, third fret, and your first finger is on the second fret of your fourth string, and then your third string is open, and your second and first string have the third fret from your third and fourth finger, and you have this. So we're just playing 5 strings. Don't play 6 strings, because if you play this, it'll sound a little bit goofy. Okay, so just 5 strings. So we have our G chord. And then you shift your first and second fingers down a string to your C chord. Sounds pretty cool, right? This is what your normal C major sounds like. But with this one, it sounds a little bit more interesting, a little bit more complex. Sounds cool. You hear this in songs all the time too. These chords, they get used all the time, and it's awesome. Okay. Now, you can do the same thing. Let's just take your first and second fingers, and let's move them down a string again. Okay, but this time we're only going to play 4 strings. So you're going to play your first 4 strings. This is actually an F chord that you can play. You can use this as an F chord. And have your C chord. And your G chord. And all I'm moving are my first 2 fingers. That's it. I'm just moving my first 2 fingers. My third and fourth stay in place the whole time. Pretty cool, right? So let's do a couple other chords. So third and fourth finger in the same place. First finger is going to go on the second fret of your third string and play your fourth string open. And you have your D chord for this group of chords. Okay, technically this is a D sus 4 or suspended fourth. But it sounds good. Or we can take your first and second finger and let's put them both on the second fret on your fifth and fourth strings. Okay, so I'm putting my first finger on the second fret of my fifth string and my second finger on the second fret of my fourth string. And with that, I'm going to play all 6 strings. So your 6 strings open and you're going to get this. This is your E minor, okay? Technically, this is an E minor 7 chord, so it sounds awesome. One of the coolest sounding chords. And especially with these chords, it sounds so good, right? Now, the cool thing about this is by doing these chords, you've heard this, you may have not realized it by now, but because all these chords are sharing these 2 notes that we keep holding down on our first and second string, that's why all these chords can sound so good together. Because as we change chords, they have those 2 notes in common. And so this is why you'll hear this in songs all the time. I've written songs with these. Hundreds and hundreds of songs have been written with these chords. Sounds so good. Now, one other thing that you can do, take that E minor shape that we just did. So you got your first and second finger on the fourth and fifth strings, and we're just going to move those down a string. So now we're on the third and fourth strings, and you're going to play 5 strings for this. This is an A shape that you can use. You can goof off with them. You can write your own songs with these. You can play tons of songs with them. The thing is why I like to get people playing these really quickly is because they're simple to play. They're very similar fingerings, even though you're playing G, C, D, F, A, and E. You've got 6 chords that you can play, and you're only changing 2 fingers. Okay. That's the amazing thing about these chords is they're so simple to use. Now, a lot of people will say, well, Brad, isn't that cheating? No, it's not cheating. So my siblings used to always get mad at me for beating them at Mario Kart because I'm the youngest in the family. So that would make them mad, I guess. But I would always say, if the game lets you do it, you're not cheating. And I never was. I just knew how to play Mario Kart better, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, these chords are not cheating. Okay, they help you sound awesome really quick. They're easier to change between. That allows you to have more fun right away because you can write your own stuff. You can play more songs. It gives you more freedom. So how is that cheating? I mean, why do things the hard way? You know, if it were up to me. So what I want you to do with these chords is you need to sit down and you need to practice them. Practice your G. Now, I'll walk through really quick the fingering on each of these one more time for you, okay? If you have questions, just hit me up in the comments down below, and I'll help you out. But your G chord is just remember, your 3rd and 4th finger are going to sit on your 3rd fret on the 2nd string and the 1st string, okay? And then your 1st finger for your G is on the 5th string on your 2nd fret. And your 2nd finger is on the 3rd fret on your 6th string, and you're going to play all 6 strings. And then for your C chord, your 3rd and 4th fingers stay the same, but you're going to move your 1st and 2nd finger over to your 5th and 4th strings. So 5 strings on that one. For your F chord, move your 1st and 2nd finger again, same shape, but you're moving to your 3rd and 4th strings. So now your 1st finger's on your 2nd fret, 3rd string. Your 2nd finger's on the 3rd fret of your 4th string, and you play 4 strings. Then for your D chord, just lift up your 2nd finger from where you're at, okay? So you've got your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of your 3rd string, and your 3rd and 4th finger on the 3rd fret of your 2nd and 1st string, and you play 4 strings with your 4th string open. And then for A, we're going to do your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of your 4th string and your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of your 3rd string. So 1st finger, 2nd fret, 4th string, 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string, and then your A string is going to be open. Your 5th string is open, so you're playing 5 strings. And then for E minor, you're going to take those fingers and move them up a string. Okay, so your 1st finger's on the 2nd fret of your 5th string, and your 2nd finger's on the 2nd fret of your 4th string. And you get that beautiful E minor 7. Okay, those are the 6 chords. These 6 chords are so much easier to learn than just your regular open chords because these are so much easier to change between, which will help you be able to play more songs faster. Now, the sound of these chords won't work for every song, okay? But that's not the point of this. The point of this is to give you these chords so that you can start practicing them and playing them and build your confidence in your ability to be able to change between chords and play cool sounding stuff. That's the whole point of this, okay? You still need to learn your other chords, but the trick is, how do you do that? How do you learn other chords? Well, there's a big myth that gets perpetuated among beginner guitar players, and that is, I must memorize every chord. And that is wrong, okay? You don't need to know every single chord, Okay. Now, going out and setting the goal of I'm going to learn all my basic open chords, that's okay, but it's really not a great goal because one, you're not going to get a medal for memorizing your open chords. Two, what can you do with them is what matters. Okay. So don't focus on, I'm going to go memorize this list of chords. That's what I did. I spent months just learning chords when I was just starting out, and I would look at it and I would try to play it. It was dumb. Okay. All I was doing was playing exercises. What you do is you need to find out what music you want to play. You need to find a favorite song or something and go find out what chords are in it and then learn those chords. Okay. And then the next song that you want to go learn, go find out what chords are in that. And if you need to learn a new chord, then you learn that new chord. Okay. I've been playing over 20 years. And still, when I find a chord that I need to learn for a song, I just go learn the chord. Okay. And then there's a good chance that that chord doesn't pop up again. Or if it does, I already know it. But I'm not worried about memorizing every single chord on the planet right now. Okay. Don't waste your time. Get playing, play real music, play songs, and learn chords as you need to. Okay. Don't let that hold you back. Don't sit back and go, I'm not going to learn chords until I can do this and this and this and this, or I'm not going to learn songs until I have 50 chords memorized. Okay. Just pick a song. Most songs only have 4 or 5 chords anyway. Learn those chords, move on to the next one, and as you need to, learn a new chord. So how do you do that? There's a couple of different things that you can do first. Okay, and I'm just going to go over these quickly. We'll go more in depth on these later. Okay, the first one is what I call chord squeezes, and what that means is you take the chord that you're trying to learn. Okay, say it's a C chord, and you get your fingers in position. Okay, but then what all you do is you squeeze all the fingers that you're using for that chord at the same time. Okay, and then you release them, and you relax those fingers. And then you squeeze and you relax, and you squeeze and you relax, and you squeeze and you relax. And you do that over and over and over. I would have students do this in sets of 50. Okay. The reason why you do that is because neurologically it's the same to your brain. Every time that you squeeze, it engages the same process in your brain to build a connection in your brain as if you were playing that chord in a song. And it's a lot faster to just squeeze and relax and squeeze and relax and squeeze and relax and do this a whole bunch of times in a few minutes than to take the time to play songs hundreds of times over and over again and get the same effect of playing that chord that many times. Okay. So chord squeezes are the first thing. So whenever I run into a chord that I don't know for a song, that's the first thing I do is I make the chord and then I do a bunch of squeezes. I'll do 300 or 400 of them. And that way I can get really familiar. And I know 300 or 400 sounds like a big number, but when you're just going squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, it's really quick. It's seriously a 5-minute thing. And it'll get you from taking weeks to learn new chords to doing it in minutes. And it's so much easier. The other thing that you can do is when you've got your chord down, the next thing is being able to change between chords, right? And I saw this somewhere one time. I think it was on Justin Guitar years ago. I saw this where he recommended doing 1-minute changes. Okay, so what you do is you take 2 different chords that you need to change between, and you're practicing that change between the chords. So I would have students, I'd set a timer for 1 minute. Then I'd have students play the first chord and then change to the second chord, and that's 1 change. And then change back, that's 2 changes. And then change again, that's 3 changes, and change again, that's 4. And they do this for a whole minute to see how many changes they can get in that minute. And then we do it again for another minute and see if they can do it faster. Okay. So chord squeezes help you learn new chords quickly, and chord changes, 1-minute changes will help you change between chords quickly. Okay. So those are what you do when you're learning chords as needed instead of trying to memorize a catalog of chords. Then those are the things that you do so that you can quickly learn the chords that you need to do. Okay, so after today, I hope that these chords will be a lot of fun for you. I hope that you'll take these chords and learn them and get them under your fingers and start having fun with them. Like I said, they sound cooler than your regular open chords, so immediately you should notice a difference. People making more comments about your playing and stuff like that if you're not already using these. And Also, they're easier. So go have fun with them, go learn them, and then learn your other chords as needed for the songs that you're playing. Okay. So hit me up if you have any other questions in the comments. Otherwise, if you like this and you want more stuff like this, then go to my website at simpleguitar.com. And I've got a free guide for you there called The Top 10 Things to Learn on Guitar First. And open chords is one of them. And there's a bunch of other stuff in there too. So I want to be able to help you out with that. And otherwise, guys, thanks for being here. And I will catch you in the next video.